The nature of celestial beings. Xiefeng. November 22, 2019. Nature is the characteristics of all structures, things, and even lives. The kinds of structures present determine the kinds of natures there are. All beings have their own natures, gods have divine ones, Buddhas have Buddhist ones, demons have demonic ones, celestials have celestial ones, people have human ones, and beasts have animal ones. All things have their own ones, mountains have mountainous ones, lakes have watery ones, soil has an earthly one, stones have rocky ones, and trees and flowers have plant ones. The Compendium of Materia Medica introduces more than 500 medicines with each having their own medicinal properties, natures. Each of the 118 chemical elements in the periodic table have their own characteristics and natures. The differences between some lives and others and between some things and others are determined by their structures. Different structures have different natures. In order for one kind of life to transform into another kind, its structure must be altered toward that desired end. No life's nature will change if its structure remains the same. While it is impossible to change life structures directly without genetic surgery being performed, their life structures are non-material, invisible, and intangible. It is still impossible to alter non-material life structures through surgery. To change a life structure, you must start by changing its consciousness. For example, if you want to become a celestial, then you must transform your consciousness from one of a human to one of a celestial. However, the transformation of a consciousness cannot be reached without centuries of self-improvement and self-refinement. Consciousnesses are too complicated, they penetrate into blood cells, bone marrow, time and space itself, detention information space, and even into one's life trajectory. The components of consciousnesses are enormous. It can often be very difficult to distinguish between human ones and celestial ones because they are ambiguous and specious. Unless there is a higher level of life to point out the direction, it is that the true face of the mountain Lu is lost to my sight, for it is right in this mountain that I reside. There is a shortcut through which people can become celestials, that is, to follow the celestial nature, and it is relatively simple to do this. You do not need to read books on celestial cultivation and spend your limited lifetimes trying to understand them from the principles of truth, meditation, immortality pills, praying to gods, worshipping the Buddha, or reciting the scriptures every day, because even illiterates who follow the celestial nature can become celestial beings. So, what are the natures of celestials and what are their manifestations? People can be divided into these 5 groups: ignorant commoners, laities, mortals, sages, and celestials, saints. Celestials can be subdivided into these 5 types: ghost celestials, human celestials, land celestials, deity celestials, and super celestials. Here I will only express the nature of celestials in the 1,000-year world because this is the easiest state for people to reach. If people can follow the nature of celestials in the 1,000-year world, then they will join them to live the lives of celestials after their deaths. The nature of celestial beings is that they have the following 8 characteristics. They follow what is predestined, are open, leave things to fate, and are free and unfettered. They conduct themselves limitlessly, follow situations, and act flexibly. They are amorous yet never attach importance to affection. They possess nothing and are totally unfettered. They never do anything yet all things happen through them because they follow Tao. They feel no mercy or pity but are natural and unrestrained. They neither contend nor argue, but associate with other celestials. They behave with the elegant demeanor of a celestial being by talking cheerfully and humorously. A life with the above 8 characteristics is celestial one. If you follow their 8 characteristics, then you will possess their nature and you will have doubtlessly become one already. Humans can never achieve any of these 8 characteristics of celestial nature, not even one of them. Of course, people occasionally show signs of celestial natures, but they are just flashes of light and disappear quickly. It is easy to understand theoretically and logically, but extremely difficult to achieve, so it is not easy to become a celestial. For example, could you follow what is predestined, be open, leave things to fate, and be free and unfettered if you were placed in a cell where you could only eat grass roots? Everyone would scold and bully you, and snakes and scorpions would be rampant. Another example would be, could you possess nothing and be totally unfettered if you knew that you were about to die? Could you be free from the worries of the people for whom and the things for which you care? Would you have no fear or regrets, and could you really be totally unfettered? As for conducting with no limit, no mercy, no sadness, those are much more difficult to achieve. Only people who are born with celestial roots can become celestial beings. As humans, you had better stop your wishful thinking. A leopard cannot change its spots, so just be an honest person.